Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. You are joining Friday with Fran. Hopefully, this is where you want to be and where you intended to be when you were searching the internet. If not, stick around. We are two very silly people who love the world of special education and children who are special in lots of ways. I have this whole thing now, Fran, about the wording. Like, I get so confused of what I'm supposed to say and what's okay to say and not okay to say. And so
You just say what you feel comfortable saying.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you are joining us live, please let us know by #live. If you are joining us by replay, let us know #replay. If you have any questions, comments, we would love to have you participate. It makes our hour a whole lot faster. Hey, Mom. And it makes things much more interesting.
I'm not going to be able to see comments. Yes.
For us, if you are
Hi,
chatting. And also, what it does is it moves us around in the algorithm, the magic Facebook algorithm. The more comments we have, the more likes we have. All those kinds. Sorry, my volume is a little low, so I was just turning you up a little bit. So the more kinds of interaction there are with this video, the more people it will be exposed to, and the more we can get out what we are trying to give to the world. So how's it going, Fran? I just rambled off a whole bunch of stuff that I feel like I literally just rambled, that it didn't make a whole lot of sense.
It's going just wonderful.
Good.
It's fabulous. I'm in a different location.
Yes, you are. You have an interesting background today.
Do you like it?
I do.
A little different.
Yeah. I like those pillows behind your head.
They're comfy pillows.
Yeah.
They're squishy. I got behind my back, too.
That's good. This is a chill time. We're just going to relax, chill out.
We're chilling like a villain.
Okay. So Fran, you messaged me and you wanted to talk about making memories as our topic today.
No, there was more to it, though. You missed the rest of it.
I'm sorry. I've been like squirrel constantly lately, to be perfectly honest.
Can you help with the rest of it?
Yes, please.
Making memories, living life, and
revitalizing relationships.
Yes.
I found the text.
Yeah, that's where my thoughts were.
Okay. So you're in a different location today. Does this have anything to do with revitalizing relationships or living life or making memories?
All of the above.
Because tell us more.
You know what? You can do all of those things right where you are. You do not have to go anywhere to do those. You do not have to do something special or plan something special to do that. Any of those.
Okay.
But you also can and should make time occasionally with those that you value and you treasure in life. Absolutely. To cleave out that amount of time to make a memory, to live life, and to rejuvenate. What was the word now? I don't
rejuvenate relationships. That's
rejuvenate,
what you said. Revitalize.
Revitalize. Yeah.
Revitalize.
Revitalize relationships. And that's what I really have been doing. What?
Sorry, Mom has gone real deep already. Every day is tomorrow's memories.
Whoa.
Oh, right?
Yeah. That is awesome. I like that.
That's very true.
So do you want to know what got me started on all this?
Of course.
Okay. Because if you didn't, you were still going to hear it. So I'm glad you want to know.
I kind of figured, so I just thought I'd go with it.
Yeah. So I took a trip. Remember? I said I was going on a trip? And I didn't say where, but now I can say where. I went to Chicago.
Oh. Nice.
and it was really fun, but it was kind of locked down. So we made memories in different ways.
Well, what did you
So,
do?
well, my daughter and I had all these plans that
Mhm.
I wanted to happen. And you know that scripture that I always go to, many are the plans in a man's heart, but the Lord's purpose prevails. Yeah, well, I had plan upon plan, and this or that, all stopped that from happening. But we had other things happen. So Allie decided I'm not going to get up. I was like, okay. But I really wanted to go to church together because we don't get that chance often. And
Right.
so, good old Google, I searched and searched and then found one that was a little closer than the one that I originally wanted to. And then she decided she really liked it at church.
Nice.
And they have a service on recording day. And so she and I are going to start joining them online for that together so she and I can do church. So not only did we make memories and live life, we're rebooting our relationship and we're doing this in a way that I hadn't planned, but it worked out. So that happened.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
then she got to see her sister. So
That's
that went really well. And she and I got to see people that I hadn't seen since high school.
well,
Well,
that was
okay.
just
No,
yesterday.
call it. Actually, that would be hold on. Someone said it the other day. 31 something like that
Yeah.
or more or
Right.
somewhere. Yeah. So anyway, but I saw these people and we picked up like we had not seen each other and it was so beautiful. So I shared a picture. Can you
Okay.
share that picture,
Absolutely.
please? So these are they were youth missionaries in Germany,
Oh wow.
and I had not seen them, and we picked up our conversation, and they're traveling all over America, reconnecting those through it's called can I say I can say it.
Yeah.
It's Cadence International. It used to be OCSC, which is Overseas Christian Servicemen Centers.
Okay.
Um, and they're reconnecting with people, soldiers that the ministry is multifaceted, and they reach out. They have these hospitality houses just off within walking distance off of bases a lot of times,
Uh-huh.
where people can get home cooked meals and they just get fellowship and there's Bible studies and there's just um, because when you're overseas, you're often feeling very alone,
Right.
and so they provide that. Um, so that's where I got with the revitalizing relationships because
Oh
that was
wow.
just a- and so there was I feel like way back that's how I came to Christ was through this ministry
Hmm.
and so like there was a fire in me and I felt like once we had this gathering that fire was flamed again and it was just to me a really neat experience.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
and I'm thinking how can we do that even in our everyday lives? So I came back from you can stop sharing that now.
Okay.
And so I came back from that experience and I just was like, well, how can I carry this that it's not just um I'm sorry, I wanted to share another picture. So it's not just um, when we go away. How can we be intentional about making memories and living life in our day to day life?
Right. Do you want me to show the next picture?
Uh, sure, yeah.
Okay.
So, in the military, officers have these things. I wish I'd brought it and I forgot. They have these things called coins,
Hmm.
and they created a coin for Cadence alumni. And
Oh.
so here I was being coined, and it was a very moving moment. And there was this many alumni there. There was
Okay.
someone that had served in a hospitality house in Japan, myself. a gentleman who came to Christ that was a soldier in K Town or Kaiserslautern, and then what?
Well, those of us who were familiar with Germany would have known what K-Town was, but you did have to explain it. So that just made me chuckle.
And then a missionary kid that was there,
That's so
who's in
cool.
college at the Moody Bible Institute there. So,
Oh,
but it was just so it was so powerful just to reconnect. And so in my head I'm just like, how can we do that? How can we oh, you want to see kitty cat?
oh.
See, I'm not without animals
I
even
was going to
here.
say that's not Emmy, but at least it's a kitty cat.
Yeah. So how can we make those memories, and especially in the midst of COVID and the latest whatever, and in this world that seems to be all drudgery and dreary and sad, and how can we help our loved ones find joy?
Yeah. And since you've thought about this, what did you come up with?
Simple.
Okay.
Be It doesn't have to be extravagant. It doesn't have to be um, a gazillion different steps and different things happening. Just simple. Whether, because I had lots of time of driving.
Yeah.
Uh, so, okay, so I'm on the way up. All of a sudden, Allison's like, "Mom, mom, 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 mom." I'm like, "What? Mom, 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 mom. What?" She goes, "Hey, my friend lives there." I'm like, I'm driving. I'm like, "Where?" She's like, "There." It was an exit we'd passed. Well, yeah,
Oh,
it was but it wasn't. It was like all the way around the clock a couple times away. It just so happened that exit was aimed that direction. I'm like,
right.
um, um, could we try this friend on the way home? Because I was like, okay, she was really excited. How can
Yeah.
we make this happen? And I'm have when I traveled with my family, it was always we went from A to B and there weren't any stops in between because that
Right.
was your goal. And
Right.
I'm like, so on the way, and I knew on the way home I was gonna want to go home, but she was so excited about it, and I knew this was a perfect opportunity. So and my motto had been making memories with her on this trip. So I thought, well, this is a making a memory, and this is living life, and this is being in the moment. So we made it happen. And then um, it was a small town where this individual was, and I thought, well, I'm going to stick out like a sore thumb if I sit anywhere, and people are going to think it's kind of weird. So I drove a distance, and then I thought, oh, I drive really far, and by the time I get there, I'm going to have to turn around. So instead of just a short visit, she got a much longer because I didn't feel like driving there and back quickly. And I got
Right.
exercise. I went to a box store and walked around and got some exercise. So I made memories, and she made memories, and she had fun. So keeping it simple, being flexible, and and finding fun in just something simple.
Mhm. And I sometimes think that when we try to do something big or extravagant, that we then have expectations that it's going to be a big memory or a big thing. And then if it doesn't turn out that way, it's a memory, but it's not a good memory like we thought it was going to be. And
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes those spontaneous things like, oh, hey, let's just call them up and see if we can catch them, in a couple of days when we come back. I think
Right.
those are oftentimes much more appreciated and turn out to be much better memories.
So
So that's very cool. So mom says, I've always wondered how we can hold on to the joy and feelings of love and giving we have at Christmas. You just
hmm,
keep loving and giving all year round, mom. Just do it anonymously and do it to people who aren't expecting it.
isn't that what do people call that? Random acts of kindness?
Yeah.
Is that what it is called?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And
It is.
then yeah. I don't know. So those were just my random thoughts, and so each morning I've been just trying to find that living life. How am I going to live life today? How am I
Right.
going to be intentional about making memories with my daughter or with my son or with whomever I happen to be that day?
Yep.
Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you okay?
Yeah, no, I just had my eyes. I'm trying really hard to focus, but my brain is like, there's 27 things going on. My day has not gone at all like I thought it was going to go. So
Uh-huh.
I'm, just like, okay, focus on Fran, focus on what she's saying. So I probably look very serious because I'm really working at it.
I can tell your thoughts are here and there, which is
Yeah,
fine because you know,
yeah.
it's all good.
Okay, good.
You're
I'm glad.
fine. I'm
I'm
not
glad.
upset. Um, and I have a really cool view right now, so I'm really struggling with not just getting lost in my view. So,
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you, speaking of view and making memories, um, this last week, I put up a hummingbird feeder on my front window.
mm-hmm,
And I've had this hummingbird feeder for probably see all the calendars. And it was just sitting in the box because it's one that it has suction cups. And all of my windows around my house have screens. So you can't put a suction cup on a screen.
uh-huh, right.
The only windows that do not have screens are my front living room windows. But Jonas likes to alert us about everything that goes on outside those windows if our blinds are open. And so typically we don't have the blinds open. And that's why I've never put up the hummingbird feeder, because I thought, well, he'll just constantly bark and they'll never come to the feeder because they'll always hear this
Mm-hmm,
barking going on. And then that will drive us crazy to hear him barking all the time anyway. And so as he's gotten older, he has gotten a lot better about not barking at everything. And I thought, I'm just going to go ahead, and I have a feeder that I put up in our backyard. And today I saw 5 hummingbirds. I've never had any hummingbirds that I've ever seen come to any of my feeders.
mm-hmm. That's
And
cool.
so when I put the one up on the front window, and Jonas has done a fabulous job of not barking at everything and protecting us, which is what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I've been able to have the hummingbirds come to the front window too, to that little feeder. And I have like literally been like this far away. I mean, there's a window in between us, but I'm like
Uh-huh.
this far away and I can see every detail. And I've taken videos of them and
How fun.
posted them and like done the super slow motion videos. So like you can see a little bit of their wings slowing
Mm-hmm.
down. And I am like so excited to be able to have, and I'm making that memory. Now Kevin is laughing at me because of how excited I'm getting at watching these hummingbirds like the other day. And I know it's silly, but I think that nature is so cool. The hummingbird in the front window that was sitting on the feeder stuck its tongue out. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I got all excited. And so then Kevin was mocking me and he was like, oh, look, there's the hummingbird, Jonas. Oh, look, it's sticking its tongue out. But that's my husband. That's what he does. That's, it's his weird way of expressing his love is when he
Of
teases
making
people.
his memories.
Right, right. And so I'm like, so I am this week. I have these new memories. And he's the one that gave me the feeder. And he gave me that feeder because so many years ago, he knew that I really enjoyed hummingbirds. Mom really enjoys hummingbirds. She has several hummingbird feeders at her house, and then she's got little figurines all around the house with hummingbirds. And So, I mean, the gift is from him and I'm enjoying the gift that he gave me, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes he doesn't receive that. You would just, like, okay, can't you just sit here and enjoy it with me? You should be happy that I'm enjoying it. Well, he is happy. It's just he has a weird way of expressing it.
Got it.
But yeah, so I mean, I've had that view and the memories of these, and I mean, I just like if I'm in the backyard, the hummingbirds, if I'm sitting down, they will like buzz around me.
Really?
Yeah. They've also sort of been, I have to read up on exactly like their behaviors and what their behaviors mean
Mm-hmm.
because I can't tell if they're fighting or if they're playing or if they're mating or exactly because
Right.
they're just, it's funny because I will see one sitting on the feeder, but you can tell because it's like constantly looking around. And then all of a sudden, here comes another one. And the first one that was on the feeder goes flying away. And I don't know if it's like, they're just playing with each other of, hey, here I am, or if it's get off the feeder, it's my turn to eat. Because it has 4 prongs on it where they can sit on it, and there's
Mm-hmm.
only been a couple of times where there will be 2 of them sitting on it at the same time. Otherwise, it's just one. And then the rest of them just kind of like, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that hummingbirds chirped. I mean, I should have known that because they're birds, but I didn't know the little noise that they made.
Uh-huh.
So I've been able to hear this little noise for the last couple of weeks that that the one in the backyard has been up. So I don't know. That's my that's my
So
living
so
life and
those are your memories
yeah,
and finding living life.
right.
I like it.
Yeah.
And and I mean, and I think that's the beauty of it. It was just in your backyard or on your front window. And um like this morning, mine was sitting on the porch watching dogs play.
Hmm.
And it was just and listening to the birds sing.
Yeah.
And I got home tomorrow and um Bet had made supper.
Oh wow.
And she goes, and I didn't burn myself, and I didn't burn it, and the house isn't on fire.
Excellent. Those are
And she
all
was
very good things
so
and things to
proud of
be proud of.
herself. But it was neat because she was making memories and living
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. So cool. So
So
when she was with her sister, did you have to find things to do for yourself then, or did you spend time with her and her sister?
that was actually the same time I was meeting with the other people.
Oh, okay. So that went well. So she gets along with her sister really well, hopefully.
Yes,
It's,
they have not because they don't see each other very often. So
right.
it was a sweet, special time. They
Oh.
hadn't seen each other since their brother's wedding.
Oh, okay.
So
Very
and
cool.
neither of them like to talk on a phone. They're like, text me. Don't talk to
Yeah.
me. Text me. Both of them. So it works together. They don't mind. It's just they don't like phones. So
Yeah.
it was cute because I'll say, hey, have you called? Nope, we don't talk. Call. We text. I'm like, okay, well, have you text?
Yeah. And is this sister older or younger or older?
Older.
Okay.
So and I should have shared a picture and I didn't think of it. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm brain fry.
No, I mean, technically, I guess it's not really your picture to share. So,
Oh,
you know,
that's true.
it would have to,
Well, except they shared it onto my page on Facebook. So
oh, okay.
I think I don't know.
As I was rehanging a feeder one year, a hummingbird sat on the feeder before I could hang it up. Yeah,
Oh, that is neat.
that's pretty awesome that they let you get that close to
So
them.
they were saying, "Mom, where's the food? You're a little late hanging it, probably."
Right. Well, hers are, and I think mine are doing it too, but she has one and it will like, if her feeders are empty, it'll come and like hover at her kitchen window. and like, hello, I'm here. Where's my food?
Uh-huh.
And I think
Right.
mine are doing that because it was funny. Yesterday I was teaching all day. And so I didn't get outside. Like normally when I'm letting Jonas out, then I'll go and I'll sit, for the couple minutes that he's out. And so then they'll come to the feeder. And like I said, they just kind of hover around me. And yesterday when I got back from teaching and I went outside for the first time, they all just kind of went whoosh. I was like, oh, hi guys. But yeah, it's been really cool because first it was just this, there was just one, and then all of a sudden I noticed two, and now today I've noticed five. So I may need to get more feeders because I don't know how many are really out there.
That's neat.
Yeah, that's
I like getting it. It's a cool day too, so they really need that food.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and that's the other thing. I know they'll be gone for the season soon, so I'm just trying to enjoy them as much as I can.
So you're making memories and living life in the moment.
Yeah.
I think it's being intentionally in the moment is what I'm discovering is another thing. Keeping it simple and being intentionally there in that moment.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Like,
and I think that is severely missing in our world anymore because people have their cell phones. And I find myself, I'm not putting this on anybody else. I'm very guilty of this. I walk around the house and I have my cell phone in my hand. I may not be using it at the moment, but if I'm going to sit down somewhere, it's likely that I'll look at it. And when we visit with people, I try to leave the phone alone. And we've talked about this before, that, being present in the moment. The saying that yesterday is gone, tomorrow isn't here yet, today is the present, and it is our present, it is our gift. So enjoy it while you have it. And yeah, I'm trying to be better at that and enjoying things.
And also don't beat yourself up if you're not. It's a process.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm discovering. Things are a process because I was getting really frustrated with something in which I was struggling because I figured I should have already achieved it and figured it out. And I hadn't. And I'm like, it's a process, friend. It's a process. Well, I'm done with this process.
I want to be done with this process.
I want to be done. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It was learning to fillet crochet.
Oh.
And the thread is tiny. It's like sewing thread size.
Oh.
And I'm trying to crochet and the cat is trying to eat it. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Can you see that hook? How small it is?
Yeah.
The end of it. It's like you can't even see the end of it. So yeah. So that's my project. But I was getting frustrated because I couldn't understand how to do it because I had to modify it since my counting is a little bit different. And so as I was watching YouTube video after YouTube video and reading instructions, it was getting lost in the translation.
Yeah.
And that kind of reminded me actually of just how are the children who have different needs, how sometimes they can get so frustrated. And well, especially I'm realizing my daughter, she lashes out, and sometimes it's not because she's upset with me, I'm her safe person, and she's just struggling with gaining understanding and figuring out how to handle the situation, or she's anxious about something, and that's how she's expressing herself. How is it what you always call it?
Behaviors are communication.
Yep. So so and and it made me I really feel like where I am in life has given me um it's helped open my eyes to things that I thought I really had an understanding of, to help me realize I had no understanding. And to help me gain that understanding. And so in order to better advocate for those I love and those around me.
Yeah. And
So it makes it all worth it.
I think that that would be true for anyone who hasn't experienced something themselves but have witnessed it. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So, like, until you were in the spot where you are now, you only witnessed, and so of what your child and what your children went through as far as having the difficulties that they're having. And so, because you had witnessed it, because you had experienced it from that angle, you thought you had a good understanding of it, which you did. But now that you are having those very same or very similar experiences, your understanding becomes a very different level than what it was before.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Kind of like I gotta throw this one out there because it's kind of it was something I knew prior, and I did a pretty good job about it, but now that I'm the recipient of it, this is my public service announcement. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
If someone is in a wheelchair, do not walk up from behind them and just start pushing them.
Oh.
There's my public service announcement.
Okay. Now explain why.
That would be like me walking up behind you and pushing you without you being aware,
Right.
and expecting you to be able to walk forward without being startled, hurting yourself, or um,
Getting
getting
angry.
hurt, getting hurt, or getting angry. Yes,
Yeah.
because I mean, I worked in the field, so I knew that. And in general, I would say, okay, and I would tell whomever I was with, um, I'm behind you, I'm going to push you now. But so often, or people walk up and just hold on and lean onto my chair.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be like me walking up to you and putting my hand on your shoulder and just leaning.
Right.
And like even complete strangers do it sometimes. It's like, that's an extension of me. Sorry, I didn't mean to go in that direction, but this was just one of those random living in the moment,
Right.
living life. I'm living life differently now, and so that's a different thing.
Yeah.
So I think we life living life is all about learning in
Mm-hmm.
life,
Absolutely.
because I want to learn. I love learning. I never want to stop learning, because if when I stop learning, that means I'm unable to learn.
Right. And I want to caveat that with learning isn't always from a textbook or in a classroom or in a class. I mean, because we have so many online classes now and
Hmm.
webinars, you can learn about people and their behaviors and, like this.
People watching. Oh, or yes, like this. What? No, I meant that in a good way.
Right.
People watching.
Yeah. But, like you just said, I think I've always, well, not always, once I became a special education teacher, I think I was cognizant of not just walking up behind someone in a wheelchair and pushing them, but maybe I wasn't. Maybe that just, came from my experiences and working with my students. But somebody could be watching this and a light bulb just went off because they went, I never thought about that. And that's learning.
Well, but you know what's funny? I have to throw this out there because you were saying as a special ed teacher, um, or this just occurred just a while ago. Um, Someone moved my walker, and because they needed some space, which was fine, and then they left,
Oh,
and my walker was across the room,
yeah. Yeah.
and this was a physical therapist that did it.
Oh,
So
no.
this is their field. This is what
Right.
they do. So it doesn't mean because we're an expert, we
We
know
still don't
everything.
forget.
Because experts are people that are always learning.
Yep. Absolutely.
So that was just my little, oh, this is how I live life today. So, which was fine. I got it and life went on.
Right. But it is those kinds of things, Fran, that are one of the hopes behind hashtag no limits, is to make people aware of that kind of stuff. I'm not saying, and you're not saying that this person did this to be mean or on purpose, or, it's just something that we need to try to be more aware of
Hmm.
and think about. And it's quite likely that after that person left your venue and was on their way somewhere else, they went, oh no, but they couldn't come back, or they couldn't, because I'll be honest, I know there have been, I of course can't think of a specific example, but I know later on after I did something that I went, oh, I can't believe I did that,
Hmm.
and it may
Oh,
not be
yeah.
something like that, but so but yeah, trying to be present in the moment and thinking about stuff. But yeah, I mean, I know, like I said earlier, my day today has not gone at all like I thought it was going to go, and
Hmm.
it's not bad things that happened. It's just I thought, oh, okay, the day is going to look like this, and instead it's looked like this. And
Right.
so some of the things that I had planned when I thought my day was going to be like this
Hmm.
have now been pushed to the side while I take care of the things that were like this. And, so now making sure that I remember the things that I thought I was going to be able to do, or in a lot of this has been contacting and being contacted by other people. So when we get off of here, I have follow-ups to do, because I have promised people I was going to, oh yeah, I'll send you an email in just a couple minutes. Well, now it's been like, once or maybe B times around the clock, and I haven't followed up yet because
Hmm.
this has happened and this has happened.
So you know what I hear as you're talking?
Squirrel.
Something else. Well, no, chipmunk.
Oh,
Grace,
chipmunk.
grace, grace. Giving ourselves grace.
Right.
Um, and realizing that we can't do it all.
Right.
Realizing our limitations in the moment and being okay with that.
Yeah. And I'll be perfectly honest, I did a horrible job of that, being okay with it and giving myself grace for years, and all the calendars,
Hmm.
and I'm much, much better at it now. And I don't know if that is something to do with my age, or just the fact that I have finally accepted that I am a human being, and
You're a being.
I'm a human being. Yeah, I cannot do it all. I don't know everything. Don't tell my husband I said that. Um, he
Uh-huh.
doesn't watch all the way through these, so I'm okay saying that, right at the little past halfway point. I'll just tell him not to watch this episode. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, so when I make a mistake, it's not a mistake; it's a learning experience, and you know, I have to give myself grace. And Alex hasn't said it. I think she might be having some internet connection issues because she's been on and off a couple times. Um, but having the balance that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this needs to happen right now, even though I thought I was going to be doing this, and
Right.
I'll get
Yeah.
them both done, but one of them is going to happen a little bit different time frame than what I thought it was going to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, one of the situations that I had this morning was someone called me, and we've kind of been playing phone tag for several days, but originally a different person told me, Alex just said, was just going to say balance, but originally a different person connected me with this person that I've been playing phone tag with. And I had said, yeah, I will reach out to that person today. Well, I have a bad habit lately of I'll answer a text or I'll answer a messenger message while I'm not at home or while I'm in the middle of doing something else, with full intention of reaching out to the person or doing whatever it was that I said I was going to do. And then because I'm in the middle of it or I'm not at home, then that thing ends and then something else happens and then something else happens, or I don't get home as quickly as I thought because this happened or that happened. And I used to be really, really hard on myself when stuff like that would happen. But I'm getting better at giving myself grace, just like I have, I think, extended it to so many others all
So
my
you're
life.
learning.
I'm learning, yes. Most definitely, I am learning.
Life is a big lesson of learning.
Mom's in a silly mood today.
I went on an adventure. Okay. I dog needed out. That was my adventure.
Oh.
But anyway, um he was doing silent but deadly, so he needed out.
Oh.
Yes, I said that on Facebook Live because
That's
I was
okay.
falling over.
That's okay.
So, um,
It's life. We're living life in the moment.
yes, we are.
You gave a perfect example of how you have to do that.
So, I was just trying to think, how can we give some tangible examples of how to do it now that school's back in and COVID is ramping up? How can we make memories? How can we live life? How can we revitalize relationships?
Well, I know something that we have tried to do here a few times, and it seems like when we try to do it, it doesn't happen, but it's happened here recently without us being super intentional about it. And that's just having a meal together. We've, this last 2 weeks, we have had dinner together at the table. Now, we have eaten dinner at the same time for years, but to actually sit at the table with one
Uh-huh.
another,
That's a
yeah,
lost art almost.
yeah. And now we just have to work on sitting at the table together and leaving the phones somewhere else. But baby steps, we gotta go. But it's just because, like, we've each just taken turns making a meal for all of us. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, it's just worked out that we have, I mean, growing up, we always had dinner, 5 o'clock, dinner was on the table. Um, I was hoping to catch that before Mom was like, you always ate dinner at the table. um, but yeah, I mean, with everything in our lives being, Violet is working and going to school, and Kevin is working 2 jobs, and I work and do this, and so we have appointments at different times, and it doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
we don't run on a necessarily set schedule every single day. So that is something, trying to just sit down and have, even if it's not a full meal, maybe sit down and have evening snack together. Hey, we're going to have ice cream, or hey, we're going to have fruit or whatever.
Yeah, I saw you had breakfast together the other day.
Yes. Yeah. Violet and I, Violet and I have had a strange week. We've each thought that the day of the week it actually was, that it was not that day. And so the day that we went to breakfast, she thought it was a different day of the week, that her best friend would be working at that place. And then we
Okay.
get there and her best friend's not working. We order our stuff and we sit down, and she says, well, my friend works on, and she said, the day of the week. And I thought, well, today's not that day. But then I was like, wait, is it that day? What day of the week is it? And sure enough, nope, it was we were there on the wrong day of the week. But yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, just taking, those moments, and, or game night. I know a lot of families, try to do board games. And again, it doesn't have to be the whole evening, but if you can find a game that you all like, whether
Hmm.
it's cards or a board game, or even if it's a video game, um, you know, just that, and try to be interactive with each other. Because I know some of those games you get really intense, and
Hmm.
it's not always a good
Right.
interaction, but um,
And
so those are
Alex, what did Alex said?
memories. Don't have to be some grand event. It can be something simple. Yeah, what we talked about. And she may not have been on with us then, but when we talked about the hummingbirds, or the
Hmm.
just that random, not necessarily completely random, but the spontaneous visit with
Yes.
Allie's friend. Um,
And you know what I was thinking? I want to say it before I forget. Sorry, or because my finger's starting to cramp from being
okay,
crossed. Uh,
it's
the
fine.
um, I've tried really hard because I was not always home when my kids would come home from school because I worked a bunch of jobs, and now I have the opportunity to be home off and on when she comes home more often, and or our contact whenever it is, I always try to ask her about her day
Hmm.
or how, because she's actually starting a new job training in her extended education. So it's I wanted to know how it was. So that was that was living life and and trying to revitalize and relationships with her. I really feel like, oh, I know what I was gonna say way back, but I gotta cross my finger again, and hopefully it won't cramp. I'll cross a different finger. But anyway, so revitalize. So I think it's really helped in our relationship. I, I trying to grow this relationship she and I have because it's truly uniquely ever changing um type of relationship because she's my daughter and I'm the mom, but she's an adult, yet she's in school, yet there are times I need her help. Yet, so
Right.
it's a totally shifting and it's finding that, as Alex says, balance. But what I wanted to say was, so we had this trip and we made memories and we revitalized relationships. Um, but I was reminded on the way home that be prepared for a meltdown and
Oh.
be prepared for, and it doesn't mean that you didn't make memories and didn't live life and have fun. It's just that's how she handles the whole buildup of all of that. And sure enough, um, her body responded in a tummy ache, so she didn't go to school the following day. And then she had a meltdown.
Mhm.
And if I had not been reminded of that, I might have forgotten that this is how she handles everything that was thrown at her in that short amount of time. And so it doesn't diminish what we did. It just is how she processed it all.
Right.
And if I had not been reminded of that, and if I had not been able just to go with it, I would have gone, was it even worth it? That was such a waste of time. That was a waste of money. That was just a waste. Why did I even bother to? But instead, I was able to ride the waves of it and just love her as she was, where she was, and catch her on the other side and just keep going.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like we really lost any ground. I felt like we just had a little, what is that called? A pause. We had a pause.
Yeah.
And then we hit the play and we just kept going again.
That's an excellent way to look at it. And I'm so proud of you for remembering and having a different perspective about the events. And thank you for sharing that because again, I we don't know who watches this. And that could be something that somebody just went, "Oh, that's so true." If I approach that differently and I remind myself that, you know, all the good memories are still the good memories. It's just how the person processed all the good stuff that happened because we tend to think that stress is always bad, but we have good stress too. And the buildup and the excitement and everything that is going on, we still have to process that. And that's what
Hmm.
she did. And another point that I want to pound home is that it sounds like 1A or B days later that she was processing everything. And so sometimes when a behavior is happening, there's a chunk of time that is removed from why the behavior is happening and what was the cause of it. Um, and I think as parents and as educators, and honestly anybody who works around people that express behaviors often, express behaviors that we're trying to figure out. We all express behaviors all the time. Um, that we have to remember that,
Communicate through different behaviors. Yeah.
right? Because so often, and I did a hashtag no limits a few weeks back with two behavioral analysts, and they said, they hear so often from when they go into group homes or into classrooms or into businesses. Well, nothing happened there. It just happened out of nowhere, this explosive behavior. And then they said it's really hard for us not to talk with our faces at that point because we want to roll our eyes because we know something has
AB,
happened.
ABCs,
Yes.
ABCs,
Yes.
antecedent, behavior, consequence,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes the antecedent is far removed, but it's still the antecedent.
And I'm finding, you know what I discovered? I
What?
know this. I'm going to try to tie it into what you were sharing though. Is I have, as my abilities and where I am in life has been happening, I don't always, and then I'm having these feelings, these behaviors. I don't always know what triggered it, the antecedent.
Mhm.
And then and I get frustrated because I can't figure it out. And I don't want to deal with the consequences. It's like I'm stuck in this and I don't, so I'm having to take all these things that I know and can apply to my children and to those who have different needs and realize that I can apply this to myself. Kind of like reading the Welcome to Holland.
Uh-huh.
And I came to that aha moment as, oh, yeah, well, maybe I am stuck in that part for myself. For my kids, I'm way past it, but in myself, I'm still dealing with some of that pain and processing.
Yeah. Yep. It's very true. And I was just thinking more about the antecedent. Sometimes the antecedent is decades prior to the behavior. And, or it's something that the person doesn't even realize is the antecedent either. Like, you know, we all have different things that, you know, the same sentence that someone says can affect people very differently. And sometimes that's all it really comes down to is someone said this to me, and now I've held that in my brain, and this is why I behave this way.
And do you want to define antecedent?
Antecedent is just what happens before. So any time. And then, yeah. And then consequence doesn't also, that is another word that we always think of a negative, but there can be positive consequences too. Anything that happens because of a relation to the behavior. There's supposedly 4 things: avoidance, escape, power struggle, or attention. That, and I think I said the 4 correct ones, that behavior analysts look at when they're trying to determine the function of a behavior. The attention-seeking one tends to be the overarching one. But then my thing is, but why are they attention-seeking? What's the reason that they're trying to get somebody's attention? There's another need behind the attention-seeking. But currently, I think those are the ones that they're categorizing under. But yeah. So I came up with dinners at the table and game nights. You need to come up with one, and then we're going to have to start wrapping up.
You
said you wanted tangible things to give suggestions of how to live life.
Okay. This is my tangible thing.
Okay.
Because you can do it. Go for a ride in a vehicle or on a bike or on a walk or in a wheelchair. Just go out of your abode, wherever you are, and intentionally put the phone down and go out together.
Yep.
It doesn't mean you have to spend money. Nope. It doesn't mean you have to, or take, you know what's even better? Take something with you to eat at a stopping point. A little snack.
Do a picnic. People don't do picnics anymore.
Oh, I do picnics all the time.
Do you? That's good.
Yeah. Oh, I love to pack food, and then I like to just pull over and, you know, that's the beauty of a wheelchair. You always have a chair with you. No, really,
well, that's
seriously.
true.
I mean, think about it.
It's true.
You never have to go, man, I wish I forgot to throw a chair in the vehicle. You will always have a chair. Unless you forget to put your wheelchair in, and then you're really in trouble.
Right.
And I have done that. I was in a hurry and drove off and left the wheelchair. And I got to my destination. I was like, well.
Now what?
Well. Had my walker, but it was a lot of walking. Too much. But anyway, so that is my simple solution, is just get out.
Yeah. And I think none of our solutions, I mean, the eating together, you have to eat. So sitting together to do that, playing games, that doesn't cost any money. You likely have games in your house. Even if you don't have games in your house, reach out to me. I have all kinds of creative things that I had to come up with, or I have come up with.
Tic-tac-toe.
Yeah. Tic-tac-toe, hide and seek, flashlight tag. I mean, there's games that we used to play long before we had board games and technology.
Kick the flag.
Yep.
Kick the can.
Yep.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff. All right. Well, it's time to stop, Fran.
Okay. Make memories. Live life.
Revitalize
relationships.
And have a great week. And come back next week and see us again. Thanks, everybody.